Hey guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome to another speed build. And today we are in Newcrest and I decided to try to build a sort of starter home. I didn't quite meet the mark with the 20,000 simoleon budget, but it's only slightly over. I wanted it to be kind of a starter home for a new couple who is moving into their first home together. Maybe they've moved here from their old apartment or their old rental home. I wanted it to be nice and cozy, not too small, not like a tiny home, but just big enough for them to start their family, because in my mind at least, this sim is expecting. So they are not only moving into their first home, they are also expecting their first child. And I thought it would be fun to build in the season of winter and around the season of Winterfest so that I could put up some decorations, maybe make it look really cozy, like this is their first holiday in their new home. Now, I did not put a Christmas tree or a Winterfest tree in the home only because of the cost of the tree itself, and I was, like I said, trying to stay on a budget, but I did adorn it with a bunch of other decorations, and I pulled out some from the decorations box that came with seasons. You'll see that pretty shortly, but for right now I'm just working on the basic shape of the home and the roof line and just trying to figure out how I was going to continue this and make it look super cute, because I wanted it to look really nice from the outside. I didn't want it to look super run down. I just wanted it to look cozy and suited for a family, and I think that I was successful. I hope you think so too. Right here we're trying to figure out this very strange roofline situation. It took me a little bit of time, but I also decided that they would have a fireplace, so I kind of hid that weird roofline clipping together with a chimney here just from base game, and I did use tool mod to size it up a little bit. That way it kind of hides it and just fills in the rest of that gap that I use the half walls for. And the roofing is from Horse Ranch. I really like this texture for roofs. I think that it's just very traditional in my opinion. So I thought it would look nice on this home. It kind of blends in with the, I don't know what kind of style home this would be. Just a typical suburban home, I think. But it fits the aesthetic. And it also looks a little bit older. And considering this is kind of sort of a fixer-upper home, definitely needs a tiny bit of work, needs a fresh coat of paint. I thought that it fit that whole look and feel about it, and I did play around with a bunch of roof trim swatches and also siding swatches for a long time, but I did figure out this one here, the green siding with the brick on the bottom, and I was going to use these brick pillars, but I didn't like the way they turned out in the end because they were kind of acting strangely when I moved the chimney a little bit. They wouldn't turn all the way. They were kind of on an angle, and I didn't like that. So I ended up changing them later on. We did really dive into the brick though. I continued the brick from the siding onto the porch and also the steps. And then I changed all of the wood trims to be white to really make it pop with the pillars on either side of the siding. I thought it looked really, really nice. And then over here we have our chimney moving, and that is what messed up my columns, so I do end up changing them. But we have a little bit of a floor plan going in here. We have that little tiny bathroom, and then this right here with the bassinet is going to be the baby's room. This is the living room space with the fireplace, and then I just decided to move the front door over ever so slightly to give a little bit more room to the living space. And then I also realized that there wasn't really a whole lot of room for a kitchen, so I was going to have to move the whole floor plan back a little bit and just lengthen the house a tiny bit in the back. But I think that that's okay, because that gives just enough space for a very nice size primary bedroom, and also gives a little bit more space for kind of an eat-in kitchen, because they have a dining table, but it only has enough room for 3 seats at the moment. And then they have a little island counter that I end up putting in later on so that they can entertain if they want to, and also just have a nice cozy spot to sit and eat breakfast in a more casual setting, because like I said, this is their first home. They're not really too concerned with being overly fancy. But here in the kitchen, you'll see I have placed down the Parenthood countertops. I do change my mind later on with those. They were a little too expensive, so I had to trade those out for the base game ones right here. And I did use the base game fridge. Tried not to use the grungy one. I used the one that was still in pretty good shape. And also this base game table in this nice wood swatch. I tried to make it match the fireplace as best I could, and the fireplace is from Parenthood. These chairs are base game, and at first I put a high chair in, but again, I got rid of that in the end because I figure they won't need that for a while, and it also was very expensive. So I figured I'd just give them another regular dining chair. If they have company, they can have 3 people sitting at that table. And here is the island going in. There's our stove, which is also base game. And then I use these little base game stools that pretty well match the chairs I have at the dining table. In the island, we have the sink going in. I couldn't use it with just the 2 end pieces of the counter, which was kind of annoying. So what I had to do was grab a middle piece of the island and then also just 1 end piece. And then that is how I made the sink fit there. Otherwise, you would have the fridge, stove, and sink really, really close to each other, and then you'd have no room on the counters to prep food, and I didn't think that was a good plan for us. So here's a bunch of windows going in from base game. I like these ones with the wood shutters. It brings in the wood tone from the inside, but also the white trim for the rest of the home. And here you'll see these lovely lit up bushes that we just got with the new cozy rewards that are going on right now. I'm very excited about all of these rewards we're getting with these holiday themed items, and I really wanted to use a bunch of these, so threw those in here all throughout the outside. And I also use the longer bushes too along the outside of the house because, again, I wanted it to be super nicely decorated for the holidays, and I wanted it to look like, just because they just moved here doesn't mean they don't want to decorate it to the nines for Winterfest. And I also threw in some plants here that do look pretty dead at the moment, but in the other seasons they will grow in and they will look nice, so I wasn't too concerned about it. Just some basic plants. I didn't want to go overboard, so I just used some hydrangea bushes and some of those little tall trees and just some normal leafy green bushes, like these little square ones, and then that long kind of bulbousy looking one from, I think that one's from Get Together, and then a bunch of these low-lying plants underneath all of the bushes, and those are from Horse Ranch. I think that they blend in really, really nicely. They get super green in the spring and summer, but during the fall and winter they're just a little bit more brown, but you can still see them, so I think that it lends itself to being on a house that maybe hasn't been inhabited for a little bit or was just recently for sale. They, didn't want it to be too high maintenance where they had to come and maintain it while they were waiting for it to sell. And then I threw in this debug and live edit fence because that way we didn't have to spend money on a fence, but it could still give the illusion that it had a fenced in yard. And it was actually pretty easy to place these. These ones are from Eco Lifestyle, and they have lots of different pieces that fit really nicely together, and they don't clip funny. So if you're ever looking for a good fence to use out of the debug and live edit menu, the one from Eco Lifestyle I highly recommend it. It is a nice neutral wood tone. It looks a little older, which is good for most homes, but it's not super dingy or dirty, and it doesn't have a lot of clipping issues. So I decided to also add some tall grass in the back, like maybe no one's been here to mow in a while, so they just have a little bit of overgrown grass in the back. But out in the front, I kept it pretty nicely manicured, and I also threw down some dirt underneath all of the plants to make it blend in. One more little tree over here in the corner, and then I also threw in some lit up trees here in the front, and these are from, I think, the holiday pack. I thought that was a nice little touch to include here. Of course, we have the mailbox at the end of the brick walkway continuing from the front porch, and I really enjoyed that. I also added a trash can right here in the front too, just kept it real simple. And then over here we have the decorations box, and you'll see my playtester sim is going to put up a bunch of these decorations, and then I'll give you a little sneak peek of what the home looks like on the outside. It's very, very pretty and very lit up. I have some garland on the fence, some hanging icicle lights in multicolor because it's just very festive and fun. I really enjoyed doing this with my family. And then I also had her rummage for some decorations, which I think is what made the price of the home go up, just because they're on the lot. Therefore, it changes the price of the lot, which is a shame because, she technically got them for free. She just went rummaging. So I don't know, but it's okay. I assume that these are things she had packed away from when they lived at their old place, and she wanted to just put everything out so that it looked a little bit more cozy and felt a little bit more like home. And I decided to scatter them all about the home and just try to make them fit. I wanted them to look a little bit haphazard, like they don't necessarily belong here, but she was just trying to find a good spot for them because this is their first holiday here. They have 2 matching nutcrackers out front and a bunch of these candles with the garland, and then they also have some holiday cards that we picked out of the decoration box. I put those up on the fireplace over here. And the TV that they have in their living room is from Basement Treasures kit. I also end up using the wallpaper from the Basement Treasures kit eventually because it is a little bit more run down. It's got kind of like a little bit of a stained look to it, and I think that that makes a lot of sense. Out here on the front porch, we have the new wreaths that came with the new event and also a little piece of garland. We have some of these decorated chalkboards going inside. I do end up getting rid of some things you will probably see in a little bit because I realized that we needed the money for extra, more important things like a ceiling light. So that was the struggle with this build. I'm not very good at doing budget builds because I tend to go over the top, but I really enjoyed it and I liked the challenge. So I hope that you can appreciate my my hard work with that one. It was tough. We just used the Basement Treasures kit wallpaper. Now we're in the kids' room. I picked a simple wallpaper from Parenthood, and then the bathroom tile from Parenthood, and then the bedroom just a simple blue paint. Hardwood floors throughout, except for in the bathroom. I just used a plain white square tile because I thought it just fit nicely. And also in here we have some different counters. We have the Horse Ranch counters because I like the blue on those, and also the darker wood tone. They just look a little bit older and I thought they fit nicely in here. And instead of a shower tub combo, we actually just have a tub and a shower both next to each other. So I think that was a little neat. I have never done that before. It's usually just a shower tub combo, but we have our bathroom clutter stuff going in. We have some toilet paper rolls on the back of the toilet, one on the wall. We have our plunger, our soap, our toothpaste, and that's pretty much it for the bathroom. I do believe I put some towels on the counter as well as a razor, but I might get rid of one of those things later on because of our money constraints. And there's also a little shower caddy next to the tub and a towel on the wall. In the kids' room, it is very simple. We just have a little packed up box of stuff right here with a teddy bear on it, and then I threw in this little basket of baby toys. Maybe that's just accumulated from the baby shower and stuff like that, and they're just sitting here waiting to be put away and assembled. So also I had to include the tummy time mat, even though the baby's not ready for that yet. I just had to throw it in here. And there's also this little debug pillow that you get when you do tummy time with your child. And out front we have these lit up snowmen in the front, and I also have some wall lights going in. As you can see, this is where we started struggling with money because I had to get rid of some ceiling lights to add the outdoor lights. But this is where you start to see the panic set in, like, oh no, how are we going to afford this? So I did have to get rid of a few things. I replaced some of the lights with different ones, and I replaced that large bush in the back that was lit up with just a plain one to save a little bit of money because it's just the backyard anyway. Now here in the parents' room, I did have just a suitcase and a little box here for the longest time, but I did figure out how to get some extra funds to afford a dresser in a little bit. Also, these little stools that are at either side of the bed are from Debug and Live Edit, and I don't know if I've ever seen them before, but I decided to use them as end tables. And I put this little lamp here that came with Eco Lifestyle. It's one of the ones you can craft yourself. Put that on one side, and then on the other side I add a lamp from City Living. Here I am removing the doors because I realized the doors that I used were very expensive. I instead pulled out these cheaper base game ones, and that gave me just enough money to be able to get them this cheap little dresser that came with Dream Home Decorator and nothing else. There's no mirror, there's no light, there's no nothing. Also had to get rid of the night light I had picked out for the baby's room. It was a struggle, but I finally was able to afford a second bedside light for the parents' room, and it's this one from City Living from the flea market. I thought it was really fun and like overly decorated. So I hope that you enjoyed this. I know that it's a very, very cheap home and there is much to be added, but I think that this family is growing and they're going to be earning money and they'll get their own Christmas tree and they have to prep for the baby. So I think the possibilities are endless, and if you enjoyed this, please be sure to like and subscribe, and also leave me a comment down below if there's something else you would like to see. I'm going to be working on as many things as I possibly can. Obviously the holidays are coming up in less than a week. I got lots to do because I have my little kiddos, so I appreciate your patience. I appreciate for sticking around, and welcome to my new subscribers. I hope that you enjoyed this one, and I will see you guys next time. Bye, guys.